Hello, everybody out there. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good whatever it is, wherever you happen to be are, whoever you are, ladies, gentlemen, whatever. Welcome once again to Nerd Week Live here on, YouTube and Twitch. Can't get Facebook Live to work for some reason. I think it has to do with... Hello, everybody out there. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. And I'm hearing myself, so we're going to... Whoever you are, we're going to stop that. I think it might have something to do with the creation of the new meeting rooms, and I think that may have screwed up live stream, but who knows? We'll get it fixed eventually, just not tonight. So, folks, sorry, you're going to have to be on either YouTube or Twitch for us to get your chats. I'm Rodney Brown. I'm the editor-in-chief of Nerd Caliber, first-person shooter on Facebook as a photographer, Burley_adopter on Twitter as a tech journalist. And joining me tonight is a massive team. So excited. This is awesome. Let's see. Let's start with Mr. Everything is Fine on my screen. That's directly below me. Introduce yourself.
Hey, everyone. It's been a while, but it's Luis Correa, Crash the Stampede. I'm a photographer, also a co-producer with Nerd Caliber. I'm looking forward to sitting in again and having some wonderful input, and I have my nice little swear jar right here ready to go just in case I slip up. It's getting to a point where I'm probably going to start funding Nerd Caliber, so look forward to programming that has a lot of F words in it.
I notice I'm peaking quite a bit there now that I've got this new lav mic. All right, let's bring that down. Let's see, we are going to then go diagonally across to the other bald, bearded, glasses-wearing individual with the comfy-looking sweater. Introduce yourself, sir.
Hi, everybody. Greg Snyder, a.k.a. Wonder Llama, cosplay and/or photography. Surprisingly enough, mostly cosplay these days. I'm finding opportunities to do some stuff around the house and try and, keep the costume stuff flowing through where I can. I haven't done a whole lot of photography lately as we don't have a lot of shows and it's hard to get together with people right now. But, yeah, we got all sorts of good topics tonight, so I'm going to hand it off to... Who's next, Rodney?
That would be the lovely balance to our ridiculous testosterone. Well, come on. Realistically, some of us are too old to have it anymore. But introduce yourself, if you would.
Hi, I like to think of myself as the combo breaker tonight because I do not have a beard or glasses. So hi,
Fair.
Everyone. I'm Gogo Incognito, longtime Nerd Caliber collaborator, video hostess, etc. And like Greg, I'm finding interesting things to do when you can't go outside and you can't participate in what you normally do. So I've been doing a bunch of virtual shoots, which if you want to check those out, you can go find me on Instagram at gogo_incognito. It rhymes, y'all. gogo_incognito. Happy to be back.
Cool. Excellent. We've got a lot of stuff going on, but we also have a lot of people, in the chat. Charity James, hello. Wonderland Lassie, hello. Wonderland Lassie loves Saturn. We're just going to call you Wonderland Lassie. Hello. Puppycorn Plays, hello. Mocha Radio the Slytherin, hello.
Wow. I love it.
I don't know what that's about, Guysy Fernandez. I think that probably went to somebody else. So I'm going to show it because it's nothing bad, but hopefully somebody will make sense of that. But hello, the Pro May 73. Hello. Who else we got here so far? Those are all people who've already said hello to. And I gotcha, Leela. Hello.
3 hours later.
8 hours exactly. Puppycorn Plays. Why in the world would they hide that? All right, unless that means something I don't know. If it is, somebody let me know if I just let something dirty pass through. So, oh no, I pressed hide, not show. Sorry, Puppycorn. Your uwu fingers got disappeared. Luminous, there you are. I know I saw you in there. Hello.
Hi, Luminous.
And that's, I think, it. Let's see if I got anybody to say hello to on Twitch yet. Twitch usually comes in late. Nope, don't have anybody on Twitch yet. And like I said, we're not streaming on Facebook. We'll get that fixed for next week. All right, we're moving on to our first topic. That's not the first topic. That's the first topic. So that right there, we had this all lined up because there was an announcement a couple of days ago that CW was going to be streamlining its upcoming, usually held in December into January crossover event to just the two shows, the brand new Superman and Lois, and the going into its second season, last year's brand new Batwoman. And that was cool. That was interesting. So it said a lot about what CW was planning on doing because of the whole pandemic, et cetera, et cetera. And then, literally less than 2 hours ago, we got the news that Batwoman, which is, of course, Ruby Rose, who created it for CW, well, didn't create it, but who was the initial portrayal of it for CW, will not be returning to the show. And that's just a bombshell. Literally a bombshell dropped on seemingly CW because they made the announcement about the crossover less than a week before Ruby announced that they would not be coming back. They're already, according to this article in Deadline, they're already looking for a potential replacement. But what do we think about the fact that A, Ruby's not going to be in it anymore, and B, what do you think they can do to possibly replace Ruby Rose for this role?
Oh, I'm not sure about replacing her. I think that, speaking LGBTA wise, it was such a coup actually to get her. It was so amazing. Yep. And they said that absolutely. The one thing that makes me I'm really sad that she's going to be gone, but it makes me really happy that in that same article, they talk about their commitment to, again, only hiring an actress who is in the LGBTQA spectrum. So that is great. It didn't say really anything about why, and I don't know. I mean, we don't know if maybe she's got some secret big ass role coming up, or if it had something to do, even though they said it didn't, with the horrible accident that she had on set.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that too.
So it mentioned in the article that it's not related to the accident, the terrible accident that she had. I mean, obviously, grain of salt because we don't know, and official words and all of that. I'm honestly, like, in my experience with movies and actors and things like that, is whenever a situation like this happens, it's because, or I feel that it's because they asked them to do something that they explicitly did not want to do and were willing to walk off the show for it.
Whatever it is, Ruby Rose gave some really kind parting words. And so it seems to be met, or at least this is how they're handling it right now, with absolute kindness and consideration and mutual respect. As to Rodney's question of who could fill her shoes, gosh, I'm not sure. I am not sure. I feel like she kind of made that role her own, so we'll see, right?
Yeah, it's tough. My first thought, I went, you know what? I'm just going to go. I'm sure I can think of like a lesbian or trans or bisexual or whatever, actress that is. I pay so little attention to that unless it's something that is a defining characteristic of how they became famous, like Ruby Rose. That I was like, I think I need to Google this, and I'm looking through names. It's like, really? That okay? Sure. So I have no idea. I did find one candidate that I would think, in my mind, would fit. There's an actress named Zoe Palmer, who has a history of doing important roles in ensemble genre television. So she was Dr. Lewis in Lost Girls, if you watch that show, and she was the android in Dark Matter. Both supremely pivotal roles to the show, not the lead. So she hasn't been exactly the lead in anything that I can think of. But she is out as of 2014, I think the article said. And given that she's done genre work, she can also handle the physical aspects of it. So, but that's the only, it's like, oh yeah, now I know that one. Okay, sure. that'll work. I don't know. I just and I agree with you, Lewis. I think that you have to take that it's not the stunt thing with a grain of salt. I don't know, Gogo, that I mean, I can't imagine somebody like Ruby Rose who is familiar with the concept of being stuck to a contract, Orange is the New Black, and so on.
Yeah.
Just jumping ship because something amazing came along without CW literally taking her to court to stop.
Right. No, I don't think that was really the thing either. I was just throwing that out there as like something that happens, but I mean we don't know. Like that's the whole thing is we have no idea. But no, I don't see that. I don't see that for her. I think it's a more personal matter. And again, she's going above and beyond to be absolutely kind and considerate and respectful.
And CW back at him. Greg, you sit there and like stroke that beard and pontificate a little, or no?
I got nothing.
Right.
I actually haven't seen the show, and you guys have covered anything I might add. So
there you go. I recommend you watch it. It's weak in a lot of ways, but it's also very cool in a lot of ways. So, as is the case with an awful lot of CW DC adaptations. Did I don't think I said hello because I don't think you were in here yet. Freddie Plays, welcome to the show. We had a lot of people in the Plays family, apparently. And so, all right, so that's, we won't see the original news about this, about the crossover. They did state that it would not start in December like they usually do. So it was probably going to be the first of the year. Now you've got to assume that that's all up in the air too. Who knows how long it will take to recast this role? So
yeah, and theoretically, since we know so little, it could be that they might already have someone ready to go, and they're just releasing the information now that she's walking off.
Ooh, I'd like to think that CW, that Berlanti was that smart. That would be cool that we get an announcement like right after the show. It's like, all right, well, now we know what's on next week's show. But speaking of what's next on our show, right now, segue, thank you. If you haven't seen it, folks, it's out there on YouTube, it's on Netflix, it's on probably every social media you can think of. The trailer, the announcement trailer, it's not really a trailer for the show. The announcement video for Season 2 of Umbrella Academy dropped, and it's adorable.
It's really cute.
There's no better word for it than cute, adorable, whatever.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
So the only thing it tells you is July 31st. That's 2020. That's when we get the next season. But it was clearly, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody who got a different impression, it was made in the era of isolation. And it's like all of the actors' individual homes or apartments, right?
That is correct. Really? Yep. And it was all done in their own individual homes.
Cool. If we didn't get a YouTube knockout for it, I'd try to play the I Think We're Alone Now. But I think we.
But you know the song. If you don't know the song, I think we're
stuck in my
alone
head
now.
Thank you.
Yep.
It's multi-generational. So if you're one of these people that are like, I have no idea what this song is, and I have no idea what Umbrella Academy is, you deserve to look up both.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And it's really nice that little introduction into Season 2 just mimicked, if I recall, the first episode where they did that exact sequence, just with the full house.
Right, because they were all in their rooms in the house in the show. Yeah,
that was the callback, and it was good. I've been enjoying, I mean, not to get off topic, it's just this is one sentence. I've been enjoying all the things that we've seen with people in shows and whatnot doing, their quarantine specials where you're like, oh, they're in their house. Oh, they need to dust too. Oh, I feel better about myself.
Somebody actually did that. Who literally said, "Oh, pardon the dust," and I'm like, "Oh my God."
I don't remember. I've been watching like all of them, so I don't know. The only one I haven't caught up with yet is Community.
M-Dog, welcome to the show. Freddie Plays Carol Baskin. I don't believe we're talking about Carol Baskin.
He's talking about my background.
That's right. Yes.
Also, Lewis, your background disturbs me.
as well it
he's
should.
a horrible person.
It's just
They
Tiger
are
Love
horrible
from a
people.
terrible man.
Speaking of, though, not horrible people, all the cast is back, which is wonderful for Umbrella Academy. And they all look fantastic, you know, obviously, even if they're not. Klaus looks the most like Klaus. Mainly because I think that actor just really knew how to play it up. You know,
I think he was Klaus before they even had the role.
Yeah.
that could be.
Is it possible he's Jim Morrison's illegitimate grandson?
Oh, wow. That's a good call. Might be.
Or the guy from Creed?
Aidan Gallagher, is that...
Tell him he's not related to the Oasis guys.
Oh, geez. Let's
not
hope
at all.
not.
Thank God.
And if you guys happen to go to the Nerd Caliber website, go check out the gallery that we put up a little earlier from yours truly, who did a wonderful, fun photo Umbrella Academy photo shoot. And we got real deep in that.
Oh, I want to check that out for sure.
I will have
beautiful.
to check that out. I have not seen that, Lewis.
It's beautiful. I was really proud of the photo shoot I did of a Luro cosplay as number 5 with Dolores at the bar at PortCon in Maine. And I'm still pretty proud of it. And then I saw what Lewis did, and I'm just like, well, okay, yeah, I'll just crawl into a corner somewhere. It's wonderful. Go check it out. Nerdcaliber.com.
The group shot with Ben, the actor, not the actor, the character. That's my personal favorite. That's always going to be my personal favorite.
It's also good. Anyway, July 31st, 2020, if you're an Umbrella Academy fan, and you really should be, if you haven't, go check it out. Dylan, welcome to the show. Dylan, are you talking about Mad Max Fury Road? Not yet. That's our last topic.
It will be soon.
Stick around. We have things to say.
Stick around, so you'll be able to see things like us talking about the New Mutants. Guess what? The New Mutants actually has a release date. Well, it's actually had 5. It actually has one in the time of the pandemic, and it's not going to be on Disney Plus. It's actually going to be released in the movie theaters, in theory.
Remind me again how much money you laid down on that marker? It
None.
wasn't much, was it?
None. Not a dime. Because I'm a fool, but I ain't that much of a fool. But assuming this actually happens and all of the states get to open like people think they're doing or they're starting to do, and we don't all wind up in the hospital, August 28th is when this movie will, in theory, hit theaters that, in theory, may at some point actually reopen.
It's funny, the image that you've got up, you had playing in the show will start momentarily, and I caught it out of the corner of my eye and said, wow, Janet Leigh looks really good with black hair.
Oh, wow. Damn, I didn't even catch that. Good call for those of us in the audience who are old enough to get that, i.e. nobody.
Yeah, sorry.
Just you two.
Moving on.
Exactly.
Yeah, Lewis, I fed that one to you. I put the T-ball on the tee and handed you the bat. Come on.
There's only so many times you can beat a horse infected with a pandemic.
I know, because when you hit it hard enough, all the germs fly out and it gets you sick.
That's right.
Yeah,
so if you're going to beat a dead
just
horse,
epidemiology, man.
wear your mask. Anytime you're out there beating dead horses, wear that mask.
Yeah, exactly. I can only make so many Mummy Alive jokes.
All right. So me and the other Imhotep here are going to say that, I guess I agree, Greg, that the odds are pretty unlikely. I don't think that things are going to be open enough for them to have any kind of a wide release unless they just want to have a movie in the theater release, no matter who's in it, for some sort of business, awards, something reason to be able to say that they're on track to start releasing stuff. There may be contractual things that we don't know about that requires them to actually have things in theater.
Are we still New Mutants?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess, because there is a...
I have nothing to add, so...
There's totally that conflict going on between theaters and digital releases, and so I don't know. That's kind of it could go any number of ways. Like if this thing tanks, and I hope it doesn't, like would that shift the pendulum towards like digital releases over theater? And then also, how many of us are going to enjoy the movie before we all get sick?
That's a good point.
Okay, well that's depressing.
What I wonder is like, I mean, the Disney model for streaming is subscribers. You got to get them, you got to keep them. Releasing something into the theater right now, even with the demand being as pent up as it likely will be by mid-summer, late summer, is this the blockbuster for them? Is this New Mutants? I mean, is there that big of a demand that people will be like, screw it, I'm putting on my mask, I'm getting my hand sanitizer, and I'm going to the theater to see this
Can I just say
movie?
straight up, no.
Yeah, I don't see it being like that movie that's gonna get people. Like if we had the discussion like maybe a year or two ago, and we're just like, hey, the latest Avengers end whatever game
I was gonna say
stuff is happening, that would get people in the theaters. But New Mutants, like it always was like a sort of niche kind of group to begin with in the Marvel universe. Like if I could only ever remember Thunderbird and Douglas Ramsey, who were like my two favorite mutants, and he got freaking capped almost like a couple of issues in. So
I don't think Thunderbird. You mean Fireball?
So Thunderbird at one point was a part of the New Mutants down the road, not in the original group. And then there was
I stopped reading.
Danielle Moonstar.
Yeah,
she was also another like really good character.
I stopped reading it after Sienkiewicz left as the artist. Luminous. It will be the old-timey mutants by the time it's released. What? Sad but true. All right, but moving on from The Mutant, which we will all see in August 28th in theaters. Right, Greg?
No.
No. Is more Mando news. The upcoming season 2 of Mandalorian, which is already filmed, so they keep making these casting announcements. The casting happened a while ago, but yes, as Gogo is fawning over this image, that's is Timothy Olyphant.
I knew this was on the docket tonight. That's why, and you maybe can't really see with, but that's why I did my. I put on space buns. I made them as absolutely big as possible.
Oh,
they're not neat. They're not neat. But I needed to make them big because I knew I had this headband because I knew that we had some Star Wars tonight, and I'm very excited.
I thought you were excited about Timothy Olyphant, but the news is
a girl can have more than one thing.
That is true. Timothy Olyphant has been cast as an unnamed character in the upcoming season 2 of The Mandalorian.
There's from what I've seen lately, like in the last hour and a half, there's a very strong chance that he might play a character called Cobb Vanth, which is a self-proclaimed sheriff of a town on Tatooine called Freetown.
Which I can so see with his Justified roots.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the way that again it's continuing almost that like space western vibe.
Justified, Deadwood.
Living for it.
In the books, Cobb Vanth wears the armor that Boba Fett left at the pit of Cocoon. So that makes a perfect sense why you would run into him as Mando. Because I recall people were being the internet, because because Ya pissed me off 100% of the time. No, he's not taking over for Boba Fett. He's going to be this other character that wears Mandalorian armor, because Mandalorian armor is not just one set that everybody passes around like a prom suit.
But he specifically has Boba Fett's armor that he pulled from the pit, right?
Right, the Sarlacc, right?
In the book, he purchased it from, to my understanding, if I recall correctly, he purchased it from either Jawas or Raiders, but it was the armor that was left when Boba Fett escaped the Sarlacc, which is the pit of Cocoon. So it was repaired, and then he purchased it, and he's currently wearing it. So
that could be how they actually have both Boba Fett, who's going to be played by Temuera Morrison, which we talked about last week.
Yes.
And this character, it could be Boba Fett trying to get the rest of his armor back.
It could very much be. There was, in the expanded universe, and this is once again I'm trying to recall old memories, so forgive me if I'm not 100% accurate. There used to be another bounty hunter called Jodo Cast who wore Mandalorian armor almost exactly like Boba Fett, and the running story for a short amount of time is that things that Jodo Cast did, Boba Fett was blamed and applauded for. And then it got to a point where Boba got pissed and he murdered Jodo and took the armor. So this could be something, a play like that with Cobb, where he's going back to get his armor because everyone's like, Boba Fett is the sheriff now? What? And that's really kind of cool, a really kind of cool idea. And so I guess the implication is the person who we don't know who it was. Everyone assumed it was Moff, the Moff who found Ming-Na Wa's character, the assassin woman.
Yeah.
That might have actually been Cobb who found her because he had the spurs. If you look at the scene where he's walking up, he had cowboy spurs.
Cool,
Ooh,
cool.
ooh,
Deep analysis there.
thought.
Thank you.
And
Deep
honestly,
dive.
I had just rewatched it over the past week, and I didn't pick up the Spurs, which means I get to rewatch again just for them. And I'm so excited. So excited.
I haven't rewatched it, but I didn't catch the Spurs in the opening. I agree. I didn't think it was Moff just because from that point on, the character does not appear and has no play in when Moff Gideon shows up. So
Yeah.
Right.
And apparently, side note, Ming-Na Wa's character is coming back.
Okay.
Yeah, they did announce it a little while ago. Like they said Ming-Na Wa, and then it was implied that character might not be dead or might be a clone or something like that. So that's gonna be, because I love her, man. Like I watch videos of her high kicking through cement all day.
Oh, she's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So that's the news there, folks. Timothy Oliphant, Raylan Givens in Justified, so many awesome roles.
Deadwood.
And for some Hitman, the first Hitman movie. He was Agent 47 and Passion of the Christ.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
The villain in Die Hard 4, the one with Justin Long.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, the one with Justin Long. That was 4, right?
Is that the one where like
Didn't make it that
McCain
far.
has his son and his son is like
No.
a chip off the old block?
Yeah,
No,
that's 5 or what? That's 4 was the one where they were attacking the infrastructure of the United States, and Justin Long played a hacker with a foldable keyboard or a roll-up keyboard.
Oh, I must have. Like I won't say I missed that one. I probably just ignored it. So.
Yeah, it's not the best, but again, Timothy Oliphant is an amazing bad guy. He's amazing in everything. So, all right, so that's it, folks. When The Mandalorian drops next October, we'll get to see exactly whether he is Cobb Vanth or who or what.
And I'm guessing, Rodney, that y'all went through the other Mando cast news last week?
Yes. Yeah, we did the Temuera Morrison news last week.
Okay.
So,
Katie Sackhoff?
Mm-hmm.
Katie?
Oh, yeah, and Katie Sackhoff. Yep.
Okay. No,
Yep.
I was
covered both
ready
of
to
them.
talk about all the things, but I wasn't here last week, so I missed out.
All right, so our next bit of information here was the first trailer drop of Paper Mario Origami King coming to Switch, and I would say it's the second most adorable video behind the Umbrella Academy announcement. And the gameplay actually looks, I'm not a big fan of a lot of Switch stuff, but the gameplay looks really cool. And the puns are the paper folding. How does anybody come up with that many paper folding jokes? Luminous reminds us that title was Live Free or Die Hard. And I think it was the 4th Die Hard movie. But anyway, Paper Mario, folks, did anybody see the trailer? Are we excited for this? What did we think?
I have not.
I thought it was really cute, but I have said in streams before, I was never of the Mario all that era. That wasn't when I was gaming. Like I came in before, I came in after. Like I was trying to be like a hardcore skater girl.
Came in like a wrecking ball.
during all the Mario time. So I looked at it. I enjoy it. I do enjoy playing some of the Mario stuff now on Switch, now that I am an adult and stuff. I thought it was really well done. It's just one of those things that I think for a lot of people, like, there's the nostalgia and, oh, there's something new and exciting. For me, that isn't it. It's like, do I want to try to play this? I don't have the nostalgia. And honestly, it's really pretty and it's really cute, so I might.
Yeah.
I applaud Nintendo with the fact that they've taken a brand like Mario and they constantly do amazing reimaginings of like.
Yeah, it's kind of forever, isn't it?
Yeah, like they do, and it always seems fresh. Like seldom is there a Mario game that just seems repetitive and boring. I mean, I won't even go into like the whole meta thing with Mario 2 and the stage stuff, but like it's always incredible. And I'm not even a Nintendo fan, to be honest. Like I don't recall the last time I had a Nintendo product in my house. But like these new wave of games that they're coming out with, like I'm like, man, I might double down on a Switch if I can murder someone with a javelin and take theirs.
I mean, I'm still playing my Animal Crossing. I'm still loving it, and we have we have a bunch of Switch games here at the house. It's just they're the things that we play besides Animal Crossing. No offense to any Nintendo people out there, when we get sick. Because they're just these like happy little joyful things. It's like, I need to pick me up.
Oh yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nintendo games make you feel happy. Like.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like, give me a pick me up. Let's watch Parks and Recs, or let's play some Nintendo.
It's one of the most apt comparisons made on this show.
I just started a game on the Xbox. I was looking for something exactly like that. No stakes, nothing I had to think about too hard. It's called Seasons After Fall, and you play. It's a side scroller, and you're a fox, and there's beautiful violin and cello music, and that's basically the whole thing. It's wonderful.
That sounds correct.
Does the fox go ring-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding?
Nope.
Ring-a-ding-ding, ring-a-ding-a-ding.
Okay, good.
Vote to eject Rodney.
That would take me right out of my lo-fi headspace.
Hey, I can make timely references to 2.5 years ago, so.
Wasn't it more than that?
Freddie Play says,
Anyway.
what about Sega? Are we Sega fans?
Ooh.
Did you not? The Sonic movie was out.
Well, that's true.
Again, the Sega was during that time that I was out in nature scraping my knees badly.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
that's not sexual, guys. That was really when I was just trying to surf and skate.
Real quick, if you want a name of a Sega game that I really like, well, two of them, Golden Axe and Cyborg Justice. Which as a kid, I loved Cyborg Justice because, like, 80% of the time, I just tore off other cyborgs' arms and then put them onto my robot and then used those and then rinse and repeat. I just mutilated robots. So I guess I was just an effed up kid.
All right, Freddie, there you go. Check those out if you haven't already. Get some of that retro cyborg violence going.
Oh no!
What does the box say? Came out in 2013.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So
And as of December 2019, over 900 million views.
Oh. So first
Anyway,
off, I was
sorry, I didn't mean to
off by
sidetrack this,
100%. I mean,
100%.
Wow. All right, moving on. Next topic is, speaking of upcoming premieres, we've got news about the second season for Doom Patrol. And the news is it's apparently going to be, and I think they had said that this wasn't going to be exactly the case, that apparently it is going to be co-premiering at the same time, or the same day anyway, on DC Universe and the new HBO Max, which launches in like 6 days, right? 25th?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Yep, that's how I read it as well.
But the Doom Patrol Season 2 will be on both of those platforms on June 25th. And what do we think here, folks? Are we really glad that there's a Season 2? Are we excited that it's going to be on HBO Max?
Yes, I am excited for it to be airing a Season 2. No, HBO Max can fuck off.
Yeah, there's the one.
Swear jar.
With all those Fs. You did such a good job with making those an Fs. Anyway, I'm also excited.
I'm sorry. I don't want to pay no goddamn $15 for no. See, I almost said it again. You got me going. Forking streaming service that, like, you're picking my pocket. Come on, man. Like, give me a break here. Like, the content is pretty good, but you're not going to tell me that HBO cannot afford to have me pay like something like $8 instead of 15. God freaking F.
Forking.
Word. You see, you're messing me up.
Forking, fracking, frezza.
Farking, $15. That, $15. It's like half of 30, and then that's how you start jumping up more and more. For that, I'll just go back to cable. I hate you guys.
I'm sorry, that was so funny.
That was a great stop, man. Good for you. I agree, and and as Lewis said, actually, in a comment when we posted this up into our share group, just kill one of them. Now, I'm paying for DCU now. Right now, my thought is I'm not going to pay for HBO Max until like something I have to watch gets on it. And at that point, I will probably drop DCU.
Yeah.
And I think that realistically, I think that's what's going to happen. Is they're just waiting for everybody to drop DCU, and they'll port Titans over and all of the other DC content over to HBO Max. So the Young Justice reboot or sequels, things like that. Because there's nothing else.
There's hardly any real stuff on the DCU streaming service. You have access to comic books. Cool, I have access to those anyways. You have access to anything that they own, which, you go into the mentality of one stop for all of DCU things, and then you go in there and you're like, oh, but there's no Shazam, there's no Justice League, there's none of the movies. But they're the anime series, which is cool, but I can buy those on Blu-ray or watch them somewhere else. Yep.
Well, I think it's good that they actually haven't in that case like taken things off of Blu-ray or whatever. I mean, that's at least you can still get them elsewhere as opposed to other streaming services.
Yeah, I think the put things back in the vault is, I think, only a Disney play. I don't know anybody else does that.
Didn't not to go off topic because we're still talking about Doom Patrol, but didn't Sony start doing something similar to that where they bought a whole bunch of like copyrights to older movies, and they've been kind of pulling them back from theaters and not allowing a lot of theaters to play them? Now, something I read, I want to say about a month ago, which has been a power play that they've been doing with buying up libraries.
People check that out. I haven't heard anything. Check it out to verify it if you think that's the case. You go look it up. But if it is, that's disturbing. Why would Sony do something that's stupid?
That's dumb.
And Doom Patrol.
Please
don't let me be the only person that watches this goddamn show. I love this show.
So I'll have to say I have not finished season 1. Still. I still need to finish season 1.
Lewis and I were talking about this before the show because I didn't know anything about it, and I just want to say, having heard about it and talking about it for about 5 or 7 minutes or so, it sounds really interesting. It sounds very diverse. Also, Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser, Matt Bomer, like it's incredible.
Brendan Fraser,
Timothy
Matt
Dalton. Yeah.
Dalton, sorry, Timothy Dalton, like. And
Timothy Dalton?
Oh yeah,
Timothy Dalton.
Timothy Dalton.
Wait! James Bond, Timothy Dalton?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And he's really good.
Penny Dreadful, Timothy Dalton, that Timothy Dalton.
I'm missing someone. What is the guy? Firefly the ginger.
Oh, Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk plays negative.
God,
he plays Mr. No. If I'm not Mr. No, Mr. Negative.
It's not Negative Man, but something like that. Yeah.
All right, so.
But he is over the top, incredible. He's like Deadpool-esque metal wall breaking. He's great, and they actually explain that in the show if you watch. But please watch this show, because one of the things that pisses me off more than anything is that people cry out for shows that have a diverse cast that approach these topics LGBTA friendly. Doom Patrol is all of this, and I haven't heard anything from Friends talking about it. Like I keep hearing, yeah.
Until we saw the docket this week, and I started looking it up, and I'm like, I don't know anything about it. And then Lewis talked about it. I was like, that sounds really interesting.
I have been passionately talking about it for quite a while. And it's like everyone keeps like, oh, yeah, sure. And it's like, these are why we don't get these things. We don't get these things because you're not supporting these things. I'm not saying you have to like it. I'm not saying that at all. That's not a fair thing to say. What I am saying is give it a shot because of the content it provides, and then have an informed opinion on that content and share it and have other people watch it too, so we can get more things like this.
Here. We've been flogging this since they first announced it as one of the launch titles of DCU. And then they just kept adding cast members like Brendan Fraser, like Timothy Dalton, like Alan Tudyk, and we were all just like, nah.
Yeah.
And it is trippy. It's as trippy as Legion without being as deliberately obtuse. The FX show Legion goes out of its way to try to be difficult. And Doom Patrol isn't, but it's just as mind-bending as Legion was or is. So yeah, even though I have not yet finished the full season, I can still heartily recommend what I've seen so far.
For some of you really old people, Curtis Armstrong is in this show as well, and he plays a cockroach by the name of Ezekiel.
Are we getting into some? Well, never mind.
That might be a little spoilery, but
that
yeah,
seems about right.
I mean, it does. Yeah,
Seems about right for.
Well, you see Ezekiel in the first episode, so it's not really a spoiler. Like he's right off the bat, you know who he is.
Isn't that like the Kafka, like this cockroach?
I don't want to ruin anything. You gotta watch it. Any episode that can make me love the characters, but also have an entire universe inside of a goat's asshole, and that.
All right, like, that's some spoilers, friend.
That's really a little cool. Spoilery. That's a little spoilery. But
yeah, it's it's been out. It's been out long enough.
Kind of goat.
That's true.
Like,
or how they discover this, or what it means to them. So good point.
Yeah.
I'm assuming from the write-up we saw here that Timothy Dalton is the bad guy.
No, he's a good guy.
Is he?
Objectively, he is a good guy that does things, and that's all I'm going to leave it at. You got to watch it.
All right.
Well, for anybody who knows, and this isn't giving anything away because this is like literally the first episode. He is the sort of mad scientist professor, called the professor, that actually sort of creates the Doom Patrol. Pulls them together.
He's their Professor X.
Yes. They don't call him Professor. They call him the Chief, right?
Yeah.
Chief. Yeah.
El Jefe.
But because the show is so complex, good guy, for any of these people, good guy may not be the right term. They're all very complex characters.
He's a good guy in the way we like to think, like the Punisher is a good guy.
Yeah, kind of. And again, that's not giving anything away because from an action standpoint, that is nothing like what the Chief is about. Well,
let's get to the end of the season and let's have that conversation again.
Well, now you're getting into spoilers. All right, so let's get off these spoilers. We'll go to the next topic.
Fabulous as a bad guy.
Yeah.
We just watched Hot Fuzz at a
yes
last weekend,
and
he is so bloody good as the bad guy in that.
That story arc in Doctor Who was a banger.
I don't remember him in Doctor Who. What arc was that? What Doctor?
When the tapping noise with the Master, and it connected to the leaders of the Doctors, like Homeworld, and they used it to bring all of that back into the present to create a time loop. He wasn't a doctor. He was the guy.
No. Which?
Yeah,
doctor?
But under which doctor?
Shit, I'm really bad at names. I'm sorry. Pinsuit one.
David Tennant?
No. Matt, what's his face?
No. Matt Smith had the Fez.
David Tennant?
David Tennant.
Yeah.
Pinstripes.
Yeah.
Kilgrave.
I'll look it up while you guys continue.
All right. Okay. Anyway, we're moving on.
Moving on.
Moving on.
And our next bit of news is the third series in the CBS All Access Let's Mine Star Trek for All It's Worth has been announced. And it is Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And it's telling the story of Captain Pike, Spock, and Number One when they were running the Enterprise before the OG, before the original series, before Kirk took over. And all three of these characters appeared certainly Spock and Pike in major roles in the last season of Discovery, and even Number One had a small role in one episode. Number One is played by Rebecca Romaine. Yay.
Oh, hey.
Yay.
Pike is played by Anson Mount, who is amazing in not
Hell on
playing
Wheels.
Black Bolt.
Sorry, I was going to say Hell on Wheels.
Or Hell on Wheels. Okay, yes. He was actually pretty good in Hell on Wheels, but he was as good as being a mute in a show that's written like garbage could be in Humans. And I can't remember the name of the actor who plays the young Spock, but he's really good. I was worried when I first saw the initial trailers for Season 2 of Discovery that they were going to bring Spock on, particularly because he had a beard. There's an in-story logical reason for that. But no, he did an amazing job. He's really good. They make a point, both in the articles about this and in their announcement. They also did a isolating from home announcement of the three main cast members about this new series, sort of like the Umbrella Academy did. And they made a point that this is going to be very much in the theme and concepts of the original series.
Oh, that's great, because honestly, I'm not really down with the super action stuff that's been like the trend lately with Star Trek.
Not into super action? Did you forget that that's literally what Kirk does like every other episode? Shoulder roll, karate chop.
Yeah, sure. But Kirk wasn't jumping off of like shuttles onto other things and like fist fighting Klingons on top of them.
Yeah.
Only because they didn't have the budget. Sorry, go ahead, go.
No. I don't even want to go down this road. I'm going to refrain.
I have always been a fan more of their stories of exploration and interaction than I would with fighting anyone. That is to say, I don't want to sound hypocritical because I love Deep Space Nine, and Deep Space Nine was intentionally a Wild Western style themed show that was meant to be darker, but I don't like that it's continued that path for the sake of just action.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, Lewis. I mean, I just want to say I feel like at this point there's a Star Trek for everyone.
Absolutely, but I don't gotta like them all.
No, you don't. That's the entire point. That's the entire point. Is that as it grows and grows and grows and grows and grows, that I think they're doing a good job. Even if we don't have to like every single one, and we can love the series and be really disappointed at the new one that comes out, whatever it is. And if it doesn't, perform to our expectations, we can be like, well, that sucks. But it doesn't mean that they're not trying. And it doesn't mean that there isn't something else in the pipeline that may really appeal to us.
Sure, absolutely. I agree with that perspective. But also, I'll interject a personal experience in that.
Lewis, I want to get, because somebody's leaving. Puppycorn, bye. It was fun. And Lumina says, I would love this new Star Trek show if it's good, but I'm worried about how good it will be. Sorry, go ahead, Lewis.
Okay. So inserting a personal experience as a child growing up in a poverty-stricken location as a minority, Star Trek was one of those things that taught me to always look beyond and look to interact and achieve and excel and try to do more than what's in front of me. So when I see, not to say that the current shows are bad, but when I see the more action-oriented kind of ones, I'm thinking like, I don't want to look up to the stars. I want to beat up the first alien I see. I want to talk to him. and I'm not saying that that's what it's teaching. I'm just saying like that's a trend that's continuing to happen. And I'm hoping that like we can find maybe a middle ground somewhere and go back. And this one is a perfect example in that they said they're gonna kind of approach it from the older series perspective, which I think is great. But I also love Picard. So let's be fair there. I also love Picard. And Picard is not exactly going forward and excelling. It's kicking the shit out of anything we see along the way.
Yeah, kind of.
I hear that. No, I hear that, Lewis, and I think that's actually like, the action trend. You had mentioned Doctor Who just the last conversation ago, and I think we're seeing even stuff like that get more actiony and less philosophical, and I think that's just a sign of the times, and it stinks.
Now, one of the things, let me say, Naruto Uzumaki, if you're saying bye to us, bye. If you were saying bye to Puppycorn, very nice of you. A little bit in the defense of Discovery, Lewis, is that the entire, right from the get-go, one of the things that they mention in the original series is that there was a Klingon Federation war. The original series takes place after it, but Discovery was written to be an exploration of how that war started and how it affected some of the people that we first know about in the series, but then also some of the others, like Spock and Pike, who would have been around at that time.
Sure. And to clarify real quick, because I didn't clarify this earlier, I wasn't referencing Discovery because I haven't seen it, so I didn't want to opinionate on something I haven't seen. I was talking about the reimagined movies. Okay,
so the J.J. Abrams movies have nothing to do with anything that's been on TV, and they made that perfectly clear.
Right, I'm not making that correlation, but I'm saying that it's still Star Trek and people still have seen them, and they were still doing the action stuff.
Okay, I'll agree with you there. I hate the Abrams movies. I mean, I think they're fun, but they're dumber than a box of hair. I mean, they're just, it's like, it's hard to describe how stupid the writing is in those movies. Although people have done some wonderful YouTube, just little roasts of them.
I don't know why 3 out of 4 bald people would hate hair.
I know, I'm
just
here like
the same.
And
bald.
real quick before we move on, he played Rassilon, and it was the end of time story arc. Timothy Dalton.
Okay, cool. Thank
the
you.
End of Time. Gotcha.
Dr. Jinx, welcome to the show. I like Discovery and Picard, but I'm glad Strange New Worlds will be more standalone episodes. I think that's the way they're going to play it from what I read. Bonnie X Plays, hello. The Plays family, like I said, good representation here tonight, all you Placers.
Welcome.
I like that idea. I don't mind the idea of an overarching story arc that connects the beginning and the end of a season. It's way more popular than just standalone episodes are now. But I get the idea of the sort of monster of the week. Orville, even though it's a comedy, succeeded very much in that regard as being an original series Star Trek, even though it's not Star Trek, by being, monster of the week or story of the week or joke of the week in the case of Orville. So I can see that. I think that makes sense. So Star Trek. Strange New Worlds. I'm personally looking forward to it. I just put my hand on my mic. Sorry. I love the cast. And I'm just going to really throw this back here real quickly. I love the fact that they've updated the Enterprise bridge to look like a modernized version of the same, like each station is like a cockpit where they've got separators like they had in the original series, as opposed to this one beautiful floating wraparound thing in the movies, or the sort of connected with almost no separators like they had in Next Generation and so on. Just little design cues like that I'm a big fan of.
Can you imagine coming into an office where everyone's computer was just one giant typewriter?
Yeah, exactly.
I'd lose my mind. I wouldn't be able to find the keys I want.
You say, but it's the future, so I'm sure. I know exactly where my workspace ends. Yeah, sure. Anyway, moving on. Our next topic, our penultimate topic, is the announcement that the creator of the Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, Percy Jackson and the Olympians novels, has signed a deal to do a series at Disney Plus that is going to be interpreting the first 5 books in the series, 1 book per season, with him, Riordan. Rick Riordan, or Reardon, I guess, probably, in a position of great control over story beats and continuity, mainly because apparently he was really unhappy with the first two movies and the liberties that were taken with storyline, with characters, and so on. So if you're a Percy Jackson fan or a young adult, fantasy adventure fan, whatever, this is apparently really big news. It certainly is for a number of people in our friendship circle.
Yes, which I won't name.
Yes.
And I won't opinionate on this because I might be eviscerated.
But one of the things that one of our friends brought up is that the movies completely sidelined a lot of the representation that is apparently a very, very important aspect of this series to a lot of people who read it. And this person was very concerned that might be the case in the upcoming Disney series because, one, it's Disney, and two, it's only going to be adapting the first 5 books, and the major aspects of representation don't appear until after that. Yeah, so I think that those two arguments, one, it's Disney, may stand. Disney's a pretty conservative operation. Just ask James Gunn. Two, I don't know that you can fault somebody for not including representation in doing a faithful adaptation of the product of the intellectual property before the representation shows
Screw
up.
That.
That doesn't.
Don't do it.
Don't do the faulting. Don't do the series. Don't do the
faithful. If you just said you can't fault someone for doing a faithful representation of a book series that lacks diversity, to which I say, don't make it faithful. Like, make it better.
Well, yes. If the change they make makes it better, or if the change they make increases representation, sure. But that's part of what the complaint by a lot of the really fanatical fans of the book series and Reardon himself was that these two movies weren't faithful at all. So it's kind of a cake and eat it too.
I honestly feel like this is going to be like a Watchmen argument. Like how faithful are we willing to keep it faithful with modernization and altering the story just enough? It literally didn't make anybody happy except for me. But I was pretty happy.
I don't know anything about the series. I've only seen some cosplays, which are a lot of times done by kids of my friends. There's been it's I've seen some a lot of teenage cosplays that's no diss whatsoever. I'm just saying that I feel like this is a younger demographic, so I hope that they get what they want. In terms of again, it's hard for me to get behind anything that doesn't have representation.
Well, again, I'm not saying that it doesn't have representation. The level of representation that the community that likes to acknowledge that representation doesn't happen until later on in the series.
Okay.
Yeah. So, to reiterate, they're adapting the first 5 books. All of that representation happens after. It ramps up past book 5 into 6. So there's no literal representation in books 1 through 5, to my understanding from that mutual friend. So it's hard to faithfully adapt and insert that diversity and all that other representation when it literally doesn't exist, because then you're going to insert it artificially, and then it comes off like pandering, which is
or tokenism.
Yeah, so it's a difficult way to approach, it's a minefield.
I haven't read the book, so I even asked this friend if the reveal of one of the major secondary characters as being, I believe they're gay, isn't it's not a reveal that's pertinent to anything that's vital to the plot of that book. Why not just move it into the first 5 books somewhere? Move it into the series. And as it turns out, the way it was written, it is actually pretty important to the plot. I was like, well, then you can't You know?
Yeah, it is a minefield. It's really hard to navigate something like that where you want to be faithful and you want to hit all the strides, but at the same time, you inserting things and muddying it around, you're just gonna end up like, because me personally, when you start muddling things like that and like inserting it purely to just make everybody happy, then it starts feeling, I don't know, I don't want to use the same word, but artificial. Like it's just there to make you happy, and therefore we don't put any real thought into it. We don't add it into the story. We kind of sideline it and put it in the back somewhere, and then it just ends up being terrible. And then everybody bitches that it's terrible. And there's a coin.
I don't know if bitches is actually a, I don't think you can be faulted for that. Anyway,
I'm not sure. Yeah, no. I'll come for you with like the F-bomb, but I think you get a pass right there.
I'm taking mine quarterback then.
So they haven't announced anything about even when this starts production, other than it is being produced. They even haven't officially announced what company is producing it. This article says they believe that it's the new Fox division under Disney, Fox 21 TV Studios. But
they're all going to be Venom.
No, that's Sony. Anyway, our last topic, because we're running long here, folks. Surprise, surprise. That, of course, is the wonderful Charlize Theron as Furiosa from Mad Max Fury Road. And who was it that was waiting desperately for this? I'd have to scroll back up. Now it's not worth looking. But Dylan, we're at your topic now, Dylan.
Thank you for waiting, Dylan.
Assuming you're still online, Dylan. Anyway, the news is that George Miller has said that they are working on a Furiosa prequel about Furiosa's younger years, and because it's about Furiosa's younger years, Charlize Theron is not going to be Furiosa. They are looking for a new actress to play this role, and that's made some consternation out there on the internets. Charlize Theron is Furiosa.
She absolutely is. We talked about this a bit in our, group chat on the site, and as a woman of a certain age, I can say that I absolutely love her as Furiosa, and I would love to see the story continue with her as Furiosa. The thing is, though, she is also a woman of a certain age, and she did have some complications with all the stunt work. And so what we don't know is she may be like, yeah, let me pass on this for right now. But the point is, this is another amazing action movie in the Mad Max world that is going to be woman-led. Whether it is a woman of young years or middle years or senior years, the point is this is going to be the first Mad Max that is actually not Mad Max. It's Furiosa. So that is absolutely something to celebrate. I'm just kind of, I'm thinking, it's like, for me, I'm like, you guys could have done an amazing job with Solo, like that Han Solo movie, but like you didn't cast Solo right, so please don't screw up Furiosa. Like, please,
I'm gonna argue that it's not necessarily that they didn't cast Solo right. I think that Alden Ehrenreich, whatever his name is, I think he did a good job, and he is a good actor. He was in something recently where I was like, wait a minute, that's the guy in Solo. Where did that come from? I think it's more of a result of that movie just being, completely chopped up by all of the corporate decisions to bring on, the two guys that they had at first, Miller and whoever, boot them when they were basically going to make something that was like Deadpool with Han Solo, maybe.
Oh, no. All right. I know. Okay, I get you.
Anyway.
It should have been, my point is, it should have been correct. It should have been amazing. Yes. And so whatever happened, And again, I don't know as much as Rodney does. Rodney knows more than I do, so maybe I need to give that actor, which I'd be happy to, more salt and all that. But don't mess up Furiosa. You have an amazing franchise. You have an amazing series. You have an amazing character. Don't F it up.
Yep.
That's all I ask.
Thank you, RuPaul. Don't
Good luck.
F it up.
Don't F it up.
Yeah. So, just to briefly on that same analogy, I think that there's a better shot that Furiosa will not get the sort of the solo treatment. All things Star Wars have become such a sacred cow in the Lucasfilm Disney family that it has to be done in the way they want it to, even when that means that it's, script writing, production design by committee, which ends up being a mediocre movie. George Miller is George Miller.
Right.
If you read the if you read the recent article that came out, I think end of last week, it was fascinating. If you haven't read it, it was on the New York Times, the quote unquote oral history of making Fury Road. Most of the actors, the directors, production designers, stunt guys chimed in with brief little, 1 or 2 sentence stories, if you will. Absolutely fascinating. But the point being, these guys had no idea what they were getting into. All of it was in George Miller's head, and all of what you saw in Fury Road that was amazing was George Miller. So if he gets anything remotely like that same kind of free reign, and he has a good idea, he has a solid story, there's every chance it could be damn good.
I agree with you completely. I think keeping it within with George Miller, and I remember seeing even a while ago a sort of like making of kind of thing with George Miller, where it kind of went through the process of honestly how little the actors knew about what was going on and how much was in his head and just in his like notebooks and all this stuff, and how it became the absolute masterpiece that it was. So I have high hopes for it. I just want to say again, like George Miller, if Charlize will come back and do more Furiosa, do that. Like, just keep doing.
There's no reason.
Just do it all. Just do it all.
There's no reason that this precludes a sequel.
Yes,
with Charlize Theron. I mean,
exactly. There's no loss here. Do the prequel.
Right. Let me interject here. There has been mention, or there had been mention of Charlize Theron and a sequel that centers around Furiosa. Whether or not they're still going to do it, I don't know. There hasn't been any update about it. Whether or not Charlize Theron will carry on as Furiosa. She mentioned originally when the first movie wrapped that the stunts were super intense for her, and she didn't want to come back as Furiosa. But as I mentioned to Rodney, that was hot off of the tour of promotion. And then following up later on, she's been 50-50 about it. So if they want a sequel and she's down, I'm down. I like conceptually, I like the idea of a prequel of Furiosa, but I'm going to be honest here. I read the Mad Max comic books that followed the movie, and I'm a huge Mad Max fan. I've always been a massive Mad Max fan. I went to Wasteland Weekend, and everything is covered in the comic books in terms of almost everything is covered in the comic books as to what happened to her prior. They don't go into super detail, obviously, because part of the point of Mad Max in any Mad Max movie, minus the first one, is that Mad Max is sort of the person that he's the main character, but he's not the main character in that he views other people and he is along the journey of other people within the wasteland. So he's like an unreliable narrator for the people who are watching. Like even his title Mad Max is implying and stating that he's insane from all the trauma that he's dealt with, and George Miller plays on that because any mad character is the person that Mad Max interacts with largely and goes on these fool's journey. And in Furiosa, I'm going to be real quick because I know we're running long. Furiosa's title is Imperator Furiosa, and if you look at notes and stuff like that from George Miller, it's interpreted that the title Furiosa is angry, is like Latin for angry. Another word for angry is mad. Mad Imperator. She's a mad character like Mad Max, hence why she has the main stage with Mad Max. Mad Max doesn't talk through half the movie. He barely says anything because it allows her to carry the story forward. And she refers to him as fool a lot when she says what's your name, he doesn't say his name, and she says I'll call you fool. That's kind of a reference to the tarot card, the Fool's Journey, which is what Max is on. He's on an endless fool's journey, and so the Fool's Journey is implied that the person on the other end of the card is the main person of that journey, and the fool is just there. I know that is really deep, but
that's a little deep, and it also is nothing that could be explored in a prequel, because the prequel will not have the fool will not have Mad Max in it. It can't. They didn't meet until
that's
Fury
where my
Road.
difficulty lies with having a prequel, because she was a wife. She was one of the wives. So where are you going to go with that?
Let's just see where it goes.
Like, I would prefer a sequel where you can see her, like, what did she do with the death of Immortan Joe? What happened with the Bullet Farm? What happened with Gasoline Town? How did the other warlords try to fight? Because if you play, I played the video game, and one of the sons of Immortan Joe is the main villain in that, and it's implied that there's other sons that he sent out to be warlords in areas. So,
but let's let let's let a woman have front and center, because she's an amazing character.
Either way, whether it's a sequel
that is
or a
not
prequel.
the argument here.
Yep.
I want a woman front and center. Like, I liked Mad Max chasing her coattails in Fury Road, and that's fantastic. And he was freaking in Beyond Thunderdome. Like, it was largely him, but also the main female villain kicked ass, and everyone loved her for it.
Well, we are going to love wrapping up, because we're running way long here at this point. So anyway, no further details about when this will go into production or who has been cast, if they've cast anybody yet. So stay tuned, folks, and for more George Miller brilliant wasteland amazingness. So, I'm Rodney Brown, Editor-in-Chief of Nerd Caliber, and everybody starting with Greg, and then we'll work around sign off.
Night, everybody. Wonderlama Photography, Cosplay. Stay safe.
Exactly. Go.
Gogo Incognito on Instagram. That's gogo_incognito. Come see what I'm up to in quarantine. It's cute.
It's cute. And Louis
Correa, co-producer, Nerd Caliber, Crash the Photos. It's fantastic being here again. I love talking to you guys on this show. We have such great conversations. I'm looking forward to doing it again. And, everyone, I hope to see you maybe next week.
That would be awesome. Claps, welcome to the show. Claps, wait, Santa. well recognized, Claps. And says, no, Santa, don't go. Luminous, this has been an especially good episode, everyone. Thank you, Luminous.
Oh, thanks. Thanks.
And so we'll see you all next week. Everybody stay safe. Please do go to the website, nerdcaliber.com, and check out Crash's just amazing Umbrella Academy photo set. It's fantastic.
Can't wait to check it out.
It's wonderful. And we'll see you all next week. Stay safe. Wash the hands. Wear the mask.
Wear your masks.
Wear your mask.
Wear a mask.
Night.
Bye.